Hello, welcome back to a very rare treat. In this video, I am going to be showing you guys, well, somewhat showing you guys, how to defeat someone who is bulwark rushing you. Oh yes. Because this is a ranked match, and as you can see, me and my opponent are basically 2 feet away from each other. It's in one screen. It's just literally one screen. Actually, everything is gonna happen just like right here. So I actually don't even have to move the camera at all. But yeah, this is going to be an unscripted video. Just gonna warn you guys. Like most of my videos are gonna be unscripted, and this one is too. But I actually thought this one through. For once. And I'm going to be showing you guys on how to defeat someone who's bulwark rushing you. And I will say that this guy doesn't do a good job at bulwark rushing because I kind of forced his hand. And this is exactly what you have to do when someone's going to bulwark rush you. Now, how do you know that someone is going to bulwark rush you? Well, that is based on the first structures that they build. So the very first structures that an opponent builds will basically tell you everything you need to know about what your opponent is going to do, especially in a game when it's this close together. If they build fight pit, and stonecutter, they're going to stone warrior rush you. If they build stonecutter and fight pit, they're going to slinger. They're going to go slingers. And if they just go stonecutter, they're going to go bulwarks. And maybe a fight pit. They'll probably add one fight pit and that. But that is usually the build order of what people will do, because bulwark rushing requires the stonecutter. That's how it usually is. But how do you counter a bulwark rush, really? Well, the answer to that is simply to stone warrior rush them. In essence, really. In this game, I took an uncomfortably long time, and you see, this is normal speed because I'm gonna be talking. A lot of things are gonna happen all at once. But as you can see, this is gonna be normal speed, and this game is gonna go down pretty damn fast. It was only around like 15 minutes long. But yeah, when you are in this close quarters, your opponent, and you know your opponent is gonna bulwark rush you, just don't even bother getting your temple. Don't even think about getting your temple, especially in this core map. It's not going to end in any other age except this one, primitive only. So the first thing you have to do is you have to get stone warriors, and you have to immediately just throw stone warriors at your opponent constantly. No upgrades necessary, especially when they are bulwark rushing you, and when they are and when they're so close together. You do not need the speed upgrade especially in this maps like this, like they're so close. You just don't need speed upgrade. So you see this guy right here, he's building bulwarks really close to my base. This is an attempted bulwark rush. Now when someone is building bulwarks next to your base, first thing you have to do is target those workers. Only the workers. Ignore the bulwarks. At all costs, just ignore them. It does not matter how much damage they do to you. It does not matter how many workers they kill. None of that matters. Warriors they kill. None of that matters. The only thing you have to do is kill these workers that are building it. Because if you can kill the workers, thus stopping production, just basically stopping them from building it, then they can't bulwark rush you because the workers are dead. And plus, it's a huge huge pain when trying to kill workers, right? When your opponent, or when you lose workers, and your opponent does not, and your opponent is getting just killed off, and it really does help just killing off these workers. Now there are two key structures in this, and that is the stonecutter and the altar. When someone's bulwark rushing you, just go for the stonecutter. That is the only thing you need to go for, is the stonecutter, because if they're going to constantly build bulwarks, then all you need to do to win is their stonecutter. The stonecutter basically acts like a second altar, essentially, because if they can't build if they can't build bulwarks, then what's the point? And if they don't have the workers to build the bulwarks, then again, your opponent is just going to flop. It does not matter it does not matter if they build 100 bulwarks and line your base and are hitting your structures. It does not matter. The point is keeping them from building more bulwarks. If you just let them build bulwarks, then you're just going to lose. Because the purpose of bulwarks, and this is the semi-new meta, right? It's not the complete meta, but when it comes to bulwarks, it's basically like it's kind of like a fortified slinger, really. See, when it comes bulwarks, they have good armor. They have a 4 average armor thickness and do 8 damage, and that's without the upgrades. So we're gonna real check. See, this guy does not have the upgrades, but if he did, these bulwarks would be doing way more damage. And actually, I don't have any of the upgrades either, except, I'm sorry, I got all the upgrades right now, but this guy does not. Probably because I kept killing his workers. But the thing you have to do again, is first thing you have to do is get a fight pit, and then you need a stonecutter, and you only want the strength upgrade. Do not get any of the other upgrades when they're bulwark rushing. You only need the strength upgrade, because your warriors are gonna die, but if you can kill their workers faster than your warriors die, first before your warrior dies, then it's a win. Even if you lose 3 warriors per worker, as long as you can keep them from building bulwarks, it's a win. Now, once you have enough resources, you want to get macemen. You only want a few macemen, because macemen are quite expensive. But you only want a few macemen, and you just want to take out any of the nearby structures. You want to slowly go after this. And once you have all the upgrades, then you can just immediately go, see right here, you just immediately go after them. All these bulwarks. But the key structure is the stonecutter. The stonecutter is the key structure. And also, I should mention before, the reason you want to attack and just keep putting pressure on them is because they're going to be forced to build bulwarks inside their base. You don't want them building bulwarks around your base. You want them to build bulwarks around their own base. So you want to keep putting pressure on them. But as you can see right here, this is basically the second altar for this guy. You see, he's defending it with everything he's got. I sent 2 macemen and warriors after him, and he sent all his workers to defend his stonecutter right here. Again, it is basically like a second altar, the stonecutter, when your opponent is using mass bulwarks. And this actually proved beneficial, because then I was able to attack a lot of his workers. You see, I killed quite a few. Something you also have to worry about is your food in this situation, because the food you have is the food, like the berry bushes, will not hold you over. You have to desperately go out and search for food. So make sure you make a few slingers, just a few slingers. You only need 4 slingers really, to then go out and search for food and clear out any wild animals that could be a threat. But you just want to keep putting pressure on the guy who is making bulwarks, because the reason is because if someone is planning to bulwark you, if you can keep putting pressure inside their base, they're gonna keep building bulwarks. They're going to keep building bulwarks in their base, and that's bulwarks less. Plus, none of that, it wastes so many more resources for your opponent. Sure, you know, bulwark. If the game is extended, you're not going to be able to fight them because they're going to have so many, you know, bulwarks. But here's the thing: that's what's beneficial about it. Because if they don't upgrade, if they do upgrade their bulwarks, that's a huge amount of resources wasted, right? Just to defend their base. Like, think about it. They spent so many resources building bulwarks in their own base, and now they have to upgrade them. If they don't upgrade them, then that's just resources wasted, really. But once again, as you see, this guy, again, he's defending his stonecutter for the life of him because he knows if he loses the stonecutter, he loses the game. But here's the thing. This is good because whenever your opponent just mass sends all their workers, just target the workers. Because then they won't... because then you can just destroy the stonecutter afterwards. Now, some of you may wonder, well, what happens if they build a bunch of bulwarks? Like, let's say this guy succeeded in his plan and he built a bunch of bulwarks surrounding my base. What do you do then? Do you target the bulwarks? Destroy them? And the answer to that question is no, you do not. You target the workers, and you just completely ignore the bulwarks. Now, if they're targeting your workers, then you just want to take out the ones that are targeting your workers real quick. Let's say he places a bunch of bulwarks here. Like, say 2 here, and the rest are over here just shooting structures. Bulwarks are not good at destroying structures. Your opponent's structures. They're like towers. They're not good. Just not good at destroying them. But they are good at killing units. So what you have to do is just destroy the ones that are killing your workers real quick, if you can. And then you just want to immediately just ignore the bulwarks inside your base and go straight for your opponent. Just completely ignore it, because if they spend all their resources building bulwarks here, their base is going to be completely undefended. Completely undefended. It's going to be absolutely... It's going to be an absolute massacre for your opponent, because they just spent all their resources trying to attack you, thinking, oh, yeah, I can corner him in here. And the answer to that question is, yeah, no. If you know what to do, then you have no reason to worry. Do not panic if they are bulwark rushing you. That is you will lose if you panic. What you have to do is you have to just stay calm, make warriors. If you can, destroy the bulwarks. If you can't, it's okay. And that's it. Now, you might be wondering, well, have you, tested this strategy? And the answer is, if you saw my video called Hurt Locker, I'll put a link down in the description. But if you look at the early game of Hurt Locker, the guy tried to bulwark rush me, and he was pretty successful. The problem is, I completely ignored his bulwarks and went straight for his workers. And as you saw in the video, he was hurting throughout the entire thing because I killed all his workers and his bulwarks were just at my base killing my structures. Again, bulwarks are just slingers, just stationary slingers. That is all they are. It's kind of like a tower. It's just a stationary archer with armor, with strong armor, right? You don't have to be scared of them, especially not bulwarks, because bulwarks have a certain vision. And, oh yeah, I also ran out of food at the very end. But yeah. Now I didn't make it to the next age. Surprisingly, I didn't have to, but I did, because why not? He's basically dead, as you see. But yeah. Bulwarks. Do not be scared of bulwarks. Now, bulwarks has become again, like I said before, bulwarks have become the semi-new meta because slingers have been buffed, and again, like I said, all bulwarks are is a slinger, a stationary slinger. That's all they are. And since slingers have been buffed, you don't have to be um, like scared of them or anything. You just have to, just destroy them. It's like again, they're like towers essentially. They're just basically towers except less deadly. And less scary. But yeah. What's the other thing? Oh yeah, when it comes to your food situation. So the first thing you do is you need to gather as much food as possible. You need to find as much food as possible. And slingers are perfect for this job. Slingers are perfect at helping you find food because they can shoot deer, and then they can also clear out wild animals pretty effectively. Now, when you get the slingers, you okay. I should also point this out. Do not get slingers if your opponent is bulwark rushing you. Don't get slingers if your opponent is bulwark rushing you. That is completely pointless because slingers have been unfortunately nerfed and are no longer as effective at destroying structures. And they're useless at destroying structures. Even on mass, they have become so useless at destroying structures. Just don't get slingers at all. Now you do want to get slingers, a few slingers, if you are hunting for animals. If you're hunting for wild game, by all means get some slingers. But warriors are the way to go, and macemen. Now if you can get macemen, that's good, but make sure you keep an eye on your resources. If you have 500 of each, go ahead and get macemen. Or I'm sorry, that's 2. It's a little 300 of each of food and wood. Then you can go ahead and get macemen. You also want to get the strength and bone arbor upgrade, but you only want to get the strength one first. You do not need the speed upgrade. I got the speed upgrade because it did help in the end a little bit, but you do not need a speed upgrade if your opponent is like 2 feet away from you, like in this one, because there's no point. Sure, they might be chasing on workers faster, but again, there's really no point. Now, what do you target first? Like, obviously, when it comes to units, when it comes to attacking your opponent, what do you target first? Well, the first thing you want to do is target the workers, and it does not matter which workers you target. When someone is bulwark rushing you, and you know they are, both food and wood is necessary. It is preferable if you get the food resources first, if you get their food workers first. Unfortunately, those tend to be more defended than the wood workers, which are probably going to be less defended. So you want to target whatever workers you possibly can as fast as you can, really. But the point is to keep putting pressure on them. If you can keep putting pressure on someone who's bulwark rushing you, you will win because they will be so panicked. They need their entire military is based on essentially structures. Slingers, essentially. That's their military. Stationary slingers that can't move. Yeah, that is basically their military. And they will panic. They will do all sorts of things to keep themselves alive because they screwed up and they did not know you would attack them. That is the thing. The best. I'm sorry. One of the strategies you can use. The best time. I'm sorry. Let me phrase it again. The best time to attack is when you're getting attacked. Because your opponent is going to think, well, what is this? What is like? They're going to think, oh, you're going to attack. Or I'm sorry, you're going to defend your base because if you don't defend your base, and you lose a lot of stuff. They're not going to expect you to attack to get attacked. They're not going to expect to get attacked when you're fighting tooth and nail to defend yourself. And that's that's the best time to attack. That really is one of the best times to attack is when you're getting attacked. An example of this is also another video called Earth's or Fighting Earth, I believe it's called. I think I'll put a link down in the description. But basically, Earth, that was his name, Earth, constantly attacked me, constantly put pressure on me. So what I did was I literally sent some knights around, all the way around, and killed all his workers when he wasn't looking, and that basically made him quit. Another game. It was the one more recent. I forgot what it was called. Oh yeah, it was. Let me think of the game again real quick. Sorry, guys. Tricking my own opponent into his own base. That's what the video is called. If you saw that one, you saw him. He just, as he was attacking me with a bunch of horsemen, I took some spearmen and sent them all the way down to his base when he was completely unexpected. He was in the middle of my base. He was completely unexpected. And I killed all of his workers. I killed everything he had, and only when I told him that I was attacking his base did he turn around and flee, giving me enough time to not only recoup my losses, but also get to medieval so I can just punch through him with elephants. Again, when it comes, and the concept is basically the same when your opponent is bulwark rushing you. You have to attack your opponent despite them pushing you. Now, even if they put bulwarks, if they go straight into the middle of your base and start building bulwarks, use whatever you can to keep them from doing that. When it comes to the center of your base, right here, let's say the center of your base is right here. This is my center. Do whatever you can to keep them from doing that. It is one thing if they just line your outside with bulwarks. It's another if they put it directly in the center. Use your workers. Use anything in your power to keep them from doing that. Now, most bulwark rushers will do that. Will attempt to do that. It is suicidal for the workers, which is why it's quite uncommon for people to do that, because it's suicidal for the workers. Because that's usually where the starting bulwark is, and all your workers and all the warriors, what you have left. But yeah, it's suicide. But if they succeed in building a single bulwark, you're just going to be having the worst time of your life dealing with that. But yeah, if you have any more questions, I'm pretty sure I covered most of the things. Again, this was a very not a very good example, because he kind of built just bulwarks all the way over like up to here, and I kind of just kept pushing him. But it did serve as also a good example, because if as you saw, I kept putting pressure on him, and it forced him to build bulwarks inside his own base, which is an enormous waste of resources, because, well, you just spent everything you needed to push your opponent to defend yourself. That is basically what that is basically the weakness of bulwark rushing. If you fail, it is basically putting all your eggs in one basket, or essentially any form of primitive rush is essentially putting all your eggs in one basket. Stone warrior rush, sure, you can, it's just food and a little bit of wood. It's like to build the structures. It's survivable, but bulwark rushing, if you fail that, there is no coming back from that, unless your opponent is just so bad and they just don't break through at all or do anything at all, or just they might destroy all your bulwarks, but you already just annihilated their resources in their attempt to destroy those bulwarks. But again, bulwark rushing is something I refuse to do, because it is incredibly incredibly difficult, because you need constant workers. Now, I will say the one good thing about bulwark rushing is the fact you can just keep spamming out workers. You can literally cap out on workers and still have a good military because it's entirely because bulwarks don't count as units. So there's that, I guess. I guess there's that when it comes to bulwarking. Oh, I should also mention, when it comes to workers, make sure you just keep spamming out workers, especially when they're bulwark rushing. Just keep spamming them out because chances are they're gonna target your workers and they're gonna kill, maybe 5 at most if you do it wrong. If you do it well. If you don't, they're probably gonna kill like 10 to 15. Yeah, but chances are they're gonna kill a lot of people. They're gonna kill a lot of workers. So just keep spamming out workers, and just also keep building houses. Max your houses out. Usually it's a bad idea when they're bulwark rushing you. Sometimes you don't have a choice in the matter. But yeah, And speaking of which, look at this map. Look at this map. Look at this face. This looks like a mask. This looks like a penis. And these look like the. Just look at this map for 1 second. Look at the bullshit that some of these maps are. You have to go to another. There's 3 different islands with metal. There's no metal on this island. So get this, even if you tried your best at even if you fought in no man's land constantly, even if we just constantly did battles, this is no man's land, eventually this tree line is gonna run out. The food especially is gonna run out, and eventually you're just gonna be 2 people just standing there like idiots. I guess we do have the stone, which in theory would get you somewhere in this tree line up here, whoever gets it first. But this tree line would have gone so fast, and this tree line too. It would be almost an requirement to take these islands, and also the food situation. Oh, I guess the food situation would sort itself out because of how much fish is in the water. So it'd be yeah, it would basically be who can produce more spearmen in the end. Spearmen and archers is all that the fight would be. Spearmen, archers, and towers. All this fight would have been in if this was extended. God damn, I love war section sometimes. Speaking of which, I want to do an all primitive free for all. Okay, this is my last thing. I'm gonna do a stream on Sunday, and if any of you guys want, if there's enough people, we're gonna do a free for all, but strictly primitive. That's gonna be the rule. Primitive only free for all. How'd you guys like that? Oh boy. May the best tribe win. I gotta do a video on how to fight in primitive. I really do. Yeah, anyways, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, if you want to ask me any questions, and if I probably just rambled on, not knowing what I was saying, oh well. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something. And I hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment, and again, like I said before, a million times, tell me if you want to know something else about bulwarking, like how to counter it or how to do it. Really, you just gotta spam out workers and constantly gather food and wood. That's really all you gotta do for a bulwark rush. And then get 5 workers just to build them a bunch. You also want to get the wicker sling and the leather sling. You don't need the bone armor or the strength or speed upgrades, so you only need 2 upgrades. But yeah, again, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time.